Well, we rock up pissed with our beers.
Right, so I'm going to play the intro and we'll just fucking go for it.
Geek Speak, the definitive 365 cut. These are the meaningless ramblings of a Scottish redone whore and a pissy ex-video store clerk. Their ongoing mission is to set right the movie wrongs. They're gonna need a bigger podcast.
The monsters will come, the ones out there, and you won't be able to run away when they come for you. And they will tear you apart and eat you up all while you're still alive. All while you can still feel it. And then afterwards, no one will ever know what happened to you.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 365 Talking Heads, the officially unofficial companion show to The Walking Dead. We are back to talk about Series 6, Episode 10. I had the name written down there. I've totally fucked that up. Straight off the bat. It's called The Next World. Guys, last week they came out the gates running. We had a fucking absolute blast with last week's episode. What did we initially think? Like, what's our first instant reactions? And then we'll really delve into the episode.
Yeah, when it first started, I kind of thought, huh? What? Huh? It kind of just, we spoke when we did the episode, the gaming episode, we spoke briefly about The Walking Dead, and we said that the first part of the season took place over about 12 hours or something like that.
Yeah.
And this one's just taken 2 weeks to itself, apparently. So I did kind of think, what? But yeah, other than that, I thought it was a good start. Ow. Sorry, I battered my foot.
So his initial feelings?
Yeah, it was obviously a slower paced episode in comparison to last week. There was quite a bit of comic relief, which I thought was, for so much trauma in last week's episode. I think the show possibly needed a bit of that this episode. Yeah, I mean, it was immediate thoughts were it was it worked quite well. It didn't work so well in some areas, but I'm sure we'll come to that. What did you think?
We will come to that. But first of all, I'm Kevin. I'm the sort of the creator and the co-host of the 365 Flicks. We've got Chris on the other side. We've got Hayes back because Hayes is our sort of how are we gonna describe you? Like a Walking Dead comic book aficionado kind of? Do you like that?
Yeah, I'll take that. Yeah, I'll take that.
You'll take that title, will you?
Yeah.
We did this last week. It was our first episode on the Blabs. It seemed to be all right. It went okay, so we thought we would definitely keep going. And I mean, my thoughts on this episode, we pretty much said it wasn't gonna come back as strong as the last episode. We said that was like the closing thoughts on the episode, and it didn't. But Chris, to your point, I absolutely love the skipping time. I absolutely love that. Like, I'm hoping it's a good 2 to 3 weeks. I'm loving that. I could have done with a bit further forward, if I'm completely honest with you. Because
really,
if it's only been 2 weeks, that's not a bad miraculous recovery from Carl.
I did think that. I thought, how long does it take to recover from having an eye shot out?
I actually think it's been months.
And they've had the time to take a fucking photo.
Yeah, pretty. That was the thing. Like you say, Hayes, there's a photo there. It's quite a good photo. Judith's looking a little bit older than she did in the last episode when she got handed off.
2 weeks older.
2 weeks older. I'm going to
That's
go.
a lot. That's a long time.
I'm going to err on the side of caution, and I'm going to say at least a month has passed, at least. But we needed that. We needed time to skip.
Yeah, because nobody wants to watch, Alexandria, kind of recovering from that absolute battering that it took last episode. And there's also, obviously, Carl's recovery. That's going to take quite a bit of time. Yeah. We don't need to be there episode after episode, seeing Carl lying in bed and people going up to him, giving him a little stroke on his little head.
Yeah, I agree. I agree completely with that.
We already
Definitely.
kind of had that in the farm series, didn't
Yeah.
we? So we didn't
So-
need all of that again. And
So to bring some of the comic knowledge, in the comics that doesn't happen. There is no skipping time. But yeah, I thought it was needed. I thought it was needed for the show.
it is needed, and because as you say, in the last series we had, was it like pretty much the whole series took space in like a day and a half.
Yeah.
So we've had an episode and then we've skipped about 2 to 3 months ahead. I like it. I like it a lot. So like kind of, what did we think of the whole? There's like a definite. The episode starts. Everything's looking very hopeful. Everything's looking very Full House kind of thing. Michonne's clearly moved in with Rick, and we will fucking get to that because I just outright called it. Been saying it for months. Knew it was going to happen. So glad it did, but we'll get there because that's like near the end. But like she's clearly living with them. She's living in the house together. It was the next step, wasn't it, for these characters?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
does anybody love the fact of the irony that I still believe that Judith's definitely Shane's kid? It's not Rick's kid. So now that kid's going to be brought up by a dad that's not hers and a mum that's not hers. I love that.
Not really something I thought about, to be honest with you, at all.
When do we find out that Judith is not Rick's kid? When do we find this out? Do we ever find this out here?
We never find that out.
Is there like is there a zombie
I don't think. Yeah.
DNA
I don't
test?
think the child support agency are going to come.
Well, you never know. Alexandria has got it's rebuilding the walls and all that.
It is. Denise might read a book about child DNA analysis.
She's going to be the new Dexter in Alexandria, just by reading a book.
Now that would be fun.
That would be extremely
Dexter Denise. That would be awesome.
So it turns out Kirkman, Gimple, all the producers, AMC have been listening to the fans, and we pretty much get that in this episode by the fact that everybody was pissing and moaning that we didn't get enough of Norman Reedus and Andrew Lincoln together in the last series. And what do we get here? We get a whole episode of just those two just broing out, just going out.
I love that. Absolutely love that.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you guys on that. It was excellent. The interplay with them too, the comic aspects. It was brilliant. Really enjoyed it.
Absolutely loved it. It was, and of course you get the third person who comes in a bit later, who kind of that's a trio of people that I'm going to want to see a lot more of. Because even like you're saying, the interplay between Rick and Daryl, the interplay between the three of them was fascinating. It was absolutely fascinating. But he's a fascinating character anyway, as we'll get to.
Yeah.
So, what do we think about the away mission? They've obviously been doing away missions for a while now. Like this is common practice. Are we okay with this?
I'm okay with the fact that they're doing away missions because clearly they need to go out and scavenge. They can't fend for themselves entirely within the Alexandria walls. If I'm going to be critical, I'm not okay with the fact that they find a massive truckload of supplies that can potentially sustain Alexandria for several weeks, if not more than that, and then piss about to the point where they get raided. They then get the truck back, but they then continue to think, oh, let's stop at this random barn. And no, let's not do that. Let's drive back to Alexandria and drop the food off. Then we'll go out on some crazy missions together. But hey ho.
I mean, Denise needs a
Yeah, I probably agree with you there. Stop fucking about and get the food back to people.
Yeah.
So you had beef for that as well, Chris? You wasn't keen?
I wouldn't call it beef exactly. I've had worse beef about The Walking Dead. But I did kind of think like, stop fucking about and go home and give Denise her pop.
It truly is a shame that we kind of decided to do this because the Chris Hardwick show, The Talking Dead, we felt it didn't represent proper Walking Dead fans. It didn't represent what we were thinking. He very much just wants to I've said it before, he just wants to fillet AMC all the time. That's all he's doing. So that's why we did this, and we were really hoping for an episode we could really, really rag on. I'm gonna say I didn't really have much beef with this episode. Like the whole coincidence about finding a van full of things, and then obviously they meet the awesome new character of Jesus. Let's talk about Jesus for a second. This guy,
Loved them. Loved them.
Yep.
from the moment he comes on the screen, absolutely just phenomenal. I love this guy already.
Yeah, I was licking my chops as soon as he came on screen. And you know, obviously when Daryl and Rick got the jump on him a couple of times, I was waiting for him to do some of his kung fu fighting, which he does a lot of in the comic. And you know,
Did they ever really get the drop on him though? Because it seemed to me like he was a mile ahead of them every step of the way.
yeah. The only question I've got is the scene when they catch up to Jesus after sort of trailing him. Because obviously, every time you drive down a road, you screech the tires ridiculously to leave loads of rubber.
Yeah,
That's just what you do in a post-apocalyptic world when you drive in a truck, don't you? You screech the tires. It's got to be done.
he's clearly a first-year driver.
Yeah. But he stops in the middle of the road for apparently no reason, because there's clearly plenty of petrol left in the truck. So what was it? Why did Jesus stop?
When you first saw it, it looked like he was like replacing the tire.
I thought. He had a
Because he was burning so much rubber leaving that trail.
Yeah, it kind of looked like that's what he was doing. But then he sort of just got back. Like Rick and Daryl got hold of the van again, and then it seemed to be fine. They just kind of drove off. Like there was no issues. Yeah. So I'm totally with you. Like I was sat there thinking, why on earth had he pulled the van over? It makes no fucking sense to me. But I mean, how do you progress the plot without that? So.
Yeah, they had to find it. Yeah, they had to find a method of bringing the characters back together again. And to be fair, the thought of Rick and Daryl running several thousand miles down the road doesn't seem ridiculous to me.
No,
it's Rick and Daryl.
Yeah,
they can do that shit.
Yeah,
they are the ones you would send, but I was kind of sat there thinking, where on earth was like Aaron? Because Aaron's like that. He was the original guy. He was the guy that done that kind of thing. So why are they not taking him? Because this episode seemed to be bereft of like quite a few mainstay characters. Like,
yeah, well, there was no Glenn, there was no Carol, there was no Heath in there.
Do you know? I think it was better for that it focused on fewer characters.
They've done that before, where they've done the whole episode with everybody, and then they've done an episode that concentrates on one or two, and the show does always
they do it better when they just focus on a couple of characters. I agree with that completely.
Because half the time they just haven't got a fucking clue what they're going to do with them anyway. So So I'm totally on board with you there. I
think we're all sick of seeing Glenn. So yeah, an episode with literally not even a single shot of Glenn was very.
Yeah, I was fine with that. I was absolutely fine.
No more Glenn bait and switching.
Yeah, and Maggie made a brief appearance and managed to piss me off. So I was pleased when she didn't come back.
So why did Maggie piss you off?
Oh, when she goes over to Enid and she's like, "Oh, we're here for you to talk to us. I'm around here. Come and see me." Fuck off, man. Sanctimonious. Oh, nah. Irritating.
Do you think this is because, as fans all know, like she could not have given two shits about Beth, so now it's like let's take this kid on and protect his Beth.
Absolutely. Every single bit of emotional fragility or whatever with her. The writers squeezed it all out of her by somehow going through an entire season without her giving a shit about her sister who was missing.
Yeah, like she didn't care, and even she did care when the Daryl came out. Daryl was more caught up about the whole thing than she was.
Yeah,
and that's how that played to me. It was like she now wants to kind of take on Enid. I mean, I'm assuming that's going to be a thing because Glenn's already quite attached to her.
Yep.
Yeah, so that I'm not entirely sure what that is in the comics, but from what I have read, and it's only little snippets, is that kind of they take her in sort of thing.
Do we need that shit?
Yeah, I don't think it's I don't know. It's not I don't know. It's not a terrible story thread to start going down, but it does feel a little bit forced. so soon after after the recent events, I guess. But yeah, and Enid certainly doesn't seem like the sort of character that needs to be overly mothered or whatever. So.
No, I liked the sort of dynamic between her and Carl in the episode.
Yeah, I thought it was quite realistic that Carl wasn't given her what she needed at the time, because the temptation was that was probably there for the writers to make Carl you don't want to be out here, yeah, let's go back. But no, he was he was quite petulant with the way he dealt with her. It was good to see a bit of that from Carl.
So can we say Enid is going to be a good mainstay? Because I'll be completely honest, I was out when it comes to the whole Enid character. I was out, and in this episode, she kind of pulled me in a little bit, but I'm not quite there, because I do think Chandler Riggs was just totally fucking slaying the screen every time he was on. I thought this episode, as I said last week, watch out for Chandler Riggs now. This is his moment.
Yeah,
this is
I would agree with you. I think it's his time, because they did fuck all with him in the first part of the season. They did absolutely nothing with him.
And in this one episode, he went through such a clever sort of broad arc that at first I'm sitting there thinking, "Oh, would you just fuck off, you little asshole, you little bastard?" And then kind of when you sort of got the twist with the walker coming up, and then later on when you realise who the walker is, I was sitting there kind of thinking, "Oh, you clever bastards!" There was just something about his story arc in this whole episode that fascinated me, and I still think he's the one to go for.
Yeah,
I definitely agree with the his arc through the episode, and how he's kind of being played out at the moment, being a really positive thing. But I thought the whole Walker bullshit with Deanna was pretty shit, to be honest.
Well, that was to serve Spencer. That's all.
Yeah, a character who I couldn't give less of a fuck about. To be honest with you, he's I don't know what that guy's like in in different roles, but I think he's pretty turgid as Spencer, to be honest with you. Every time he was on screen, I just wanted to swat him away like an irritating fly. I get nothing.
He's not. He's kind of wooden, really. He's not the best, really, is he?
Do you not see him getting better? Do you not think he's going to get better here?
Well, from what we've been presented with, there's just nothing to work with at the minute.
Kill him. Just kill him.
Yeah.
I can sort of see this being a bit of a turning point for him, if I can play devil's advocate for a minute. I can see this whole thing being a turning point, and I hope it is. I hope I'm wrong. But I think, like, there was sort of the parallels with Carl in, like, what was it, back in the prison series when he had his own mum, and that's kind of why he wanted to lock off Janeway Walker back to Alexandria, so that somebody that loved her could do her in once and for all. So there's sort of like parallels there. That was a turning point for Carl, and I would like to think this is a turning point for Spencer. I hope it is, because I like Austin Nichols, and he needs to just get some meaty. He needs to get some good scenes, to be honest.
He doesn't really do anything for me, to be honest with you. I actually didn't see it coming when Carl and was it Enid were in the forest together, and they kind of, the walker was there, and they kind of said, "Oh no," kind of thing, and who's that? I didn't see that coming, that it was going to be Zombie Janeway. I didn't see that at all.
Yeah. Plus, we've already said our goodbyes with that character. It was stretched out enough as it was. Plus, I think it was a pretty foolish way for it to be killed in the first place. Because I think if she really gave a fuck, she wouldn't have stayed in a room. She would have got out there.
I know.
And by becoming a zombie, she became part of the problem as well. I didn't like it. I didn't like the reintroduction of Janeway to see her die again. It's stuff like that the show, where the show really doesn't serve itself well, to be honest, in my opinion. But
Is it a worry though that as when she was a zombie, she actually looked more like Janeway?
Yeah.
I thought she did.
Yeah.
She definitely did. She definitely did.
Yeah.
So with the whole Spencer thing, do you not like the kind of the interplay with Michonne? Because they're like one thing that I was hoping they weren't going to do with Michonne was like totally bring her into the fold and totally humanize her and make her part of the community. In that, I always want Michonne on the edge, sort of thing. She's clearly not on the edge now. She's got her feet under the table. She's basically regarding Spencer as family. Like she's calling him family, and
Yeah,
it was
I think what the writers are doing is they're starting to sort of paint this picture of kind of calm before the storm. Last episode we had the a brief introduction to the saviors. We had the mention of Negan. This episode, you're kind of seeing things relaxing. You're seeing Rick, change a bit from his. Christ, how many revelations has Rick gone through? He was canny for a minute, and then he was like, "Oh no, we don't like anyone," and then now he's gone back to, all is well with the world and people are good and all that sort of thing. So I think the writers are kind of edging, as I say, towards calm, but I would anticipate that to change.
Did it feel a little bit forced that everybody was all of a sudden, at the start of the episode, Rick and Michonne are in the house and they're, having all larks and stuff, and then Denise is talking about what's her name, fucking speaking in her sleep and all that, and she's wanting soda pop.
Yeah,
everybody's happy after only like 2 weeks to a month. Everybody's happy and settled down, and the town's all reinforced and everything.
Yeah,
I mean, did it? Honestly, I did kind of. I thought I'd missed an episode.
It did feel like that. It kind of felt like you'd missed the series, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm the same as you guys. I've got nothing against them skipping time, nothing at all. But they went from near being wiped out and having to team together, and some of them we'd never seen before, as we said last week, who we never actually saw again. We went from
we never will.
We didn't know. I assume they're dead now. Maybe they should have been the ones in the forest, just because fucking why not? But maybe did it maybe feel a little bit forced in that we go from that in the first episode to Maggie said to Enid 2 weeks, so I assumed it had only been 2 weeks, but it might have been longer. I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of referenced as 2 weeks because.
But that's a short time for somebody to heal from. I know he's not healed exactly, but out of bed from having your eyes shut out, that's a fucking shot.
Yeah. To be fair, they did say that they were going to change Carl's bandage, so it clearly hasn't healed as such. Although I would love to know where they've got such a big supply of fresh bandages, but
yeah,
it's Alexandria.
Yeah.
Oh, Daryl's been going out for weeks doing these runs, so
yeah.
So are we? How do we feel about the fact that it was hinted at in the last series, but now it's 100% definite that Denise and Fist Bump are definitely together.
Lesbicans, yeah.
We all good with that?
Whatever.
I'm happy with that. I didn't think it necessarily needed clearing up, but it felt like that little scene with Daryl, although you kind of had another scene with Eugene. Again, I fucking hate Eugene. I need that man to die. The mullet needs to fucking
But he had an awesome line where he said everything's going to go from scary to honky donkey.
No,
was it not that? Was that not the line? Everything's going to our food situation will go from scary to honky donkey. And I thought, that's such a fucking good line.
The thing about Eugene, though, and I'm sure did they not reference it in the last series where somebody says nobody knows what the fuck you're saying, but you speak so fast that we just assume that you know what you're going on about.
Yeah.
Like that's all he's doing. He's just saying things really quickly. He's just a fucking turd.
That's some fucking strong hatred there, Kev.
I don't like Eugene. I never have, and I want him gone. I really want him gone. And while we're on the Eugene thing, Where the fuck was the ginger? Where was he this week?
Oh God,
Yeah.
I'm actually quite glad we didn't see him because yeah, I think we've seen a little bit too much of Abraham lately. I don't think his character in the show is strong enough to sustain the screen time that we've had out of him so far. I've been a bit bored of the whole old sort of war hero gone bad, gone good, gone bad, gone good. And I can't be arsed with him coming back. And I mean, the next thing for Abraham, I guess, would be if he was going to break it off with, is it Rosita he was with?
Yeah. Because he's going to start pumping Sasha.
Yeah, that's it. That's certainly the plan. Like, so I don't know. I mean, maybe the writers just thought, can we be asked for this? No, I'll skip several months. Maybe that's why they skipped several months. I don't know.
It does seem to be a big thing that I like to think that the writers are literally sitting around, like you're rolling your head there, your eyes there.
Yeah.
Like, I love to think it's something like, you ever watch that 30 Rock? When they're literally just coming up with ideas and it's like, does that work? And they go, no. And they just throw it away. And it's like, well, no, because we need continuity in that. And he's like, oh, fuck continuity. It does sometimes feel like the Walking Dead producers and writers will just sit there and go, you know what? They'll be okay with it in a couple of episodes. We'll get Nicotero back in for an episode and they'll love us again, you know? And it kind of feels that way a little bit. But because the whole thing, like you were saying before with Rick, he does keep flip-flopping, and now I am getting a bit sick of it. Like, I'm getting a tad bored with Rick Grimes. Like,
really?
I
loved him in this episode. You know, when they were in the car together at the start, and he wanted to put his CD in and all that, and Daryl went, "No, don't." It just.
The whole thing about that relationship is that Daryl's just so fucking cool. You
know, Daryl was my character of the episode.
Oh,
truth be told,
well, no,
other than Zombie Janeway.
Yeah. I'm going to give that to Jesus for me. Like,
no.
So Chris,
no.
you're the comic book connoisseur, Hayes. So, a little bit about Jesus. What can we expect going forward?
Oh, I could tell you quite a bit, but I mean, to be fair, from his presence in this episode, I think you can tell. It doesn't take a genius to work out that he's going to be a pretty significant character.
Certainly feels it. He certainly feels it.
Yeah. He's is kind of, his hand-to-hand combat skills are awesome. We've had a little bit of a preview of that. We know he's a bit of a sneaky bastard. I love the fact that they think that keeping him tied up in a room with some rope is gonna hold him after he escaped from a previous situation exactly the same.
Absolutely love that. Absolutely love
that.
Yeah,
but it was brilliant because that's the sort of thing that he does. That he does in the comics. Like I said, seeing that manifest itself on screen, it was believable. It was exactly, as a big Jesus fan from the comics, I was a little bit worried about his casting and how I was gonna play out, but not worried anymore. He's got it nailed.
He seems to. I mean, my take on him, and you can jump in if I'm completely wrong or if I'm right or whatever. I do have a feeling that he's sort of. I don't think he's not a savior. I'm not putting him as a savior yet. I don't think he's one of them. I do think he's going to be from another community, and he's pretty much, because we know the Hilltop community is coming into it at some point. I get the feeling he's basically Daryl, and he's basically Aaron from those communities. Yeah,
you are right that he's from a different community.
But he's not a savior, is he?
No. He is. I mean, I don't know how you want to do spoilers, Kev, because I can sort of give you a minor spoiler, but
you can give me a minor spoiler, but
it's not guaranteed that they're going to be doing that on the show.
It's not. To be fair, it's
not spoilers for comics, and it's not guaranteed to do it.
Well, if
they do, I will be pissed.
Yeah, he is from the Hilltop in the comics. So,
right,
assuming they continue that thread with.
Well, didn't they on the like next week on The Walking Dead, they kind of showed them going to meet other people and stuff. So
Oh, see,
I just assumed that's what the case was.
Yeah, I didn't see that. I never, to be honest.
Right.
I never watched
Yeah,
it.
they showed a next week on, and they
All
sort
right.
of said like, yeah, they want to
I
meet
never
other people.
watched the next week on because
He said your world's about to get a whole lot bigger and all that.
Yeah. So there's more people coming in.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
So that's okay. Don't worry about that. That's.
I don't watch that because literally I have that much fear that I'm going to see Chris Hardwick's fucking bastard face. So I don't watch that bit.
Yeah.
His fucking bastard face.
His fucking bastard face.
So did anybody actually recognize the guy who played Jesus?
No.
Nope.
No.
It was a fake beard.
I'm going to come across pretty sad here. Do you remember a show on the BBC called Waterloo Road?
No.
No, he used to be in that. He was in like 3 or 4 seasons of that. And as soon as I saw him, I was like, holy shit, my God, he's actually grown up and he's like all cool and that. He's going to be better in this.
That's the one with Andrew Lincoln in it?
I think Andrew Lincoln was in like the very first series.
It was in a school or something.
You don't think it's teachers?
Oh, shit, it was teachers. Sorry, bygones. Yeah, sorry.
That was teachers. Waterloo Road was like the BBC equivalent. It was like Grange Hill, but a little bit older and not as good.
Okay.
But I digress. So I'm looking forward to seeing where he goes. I'm looking forward to the whole, because when they were in the car at the end and he was kind of talking to Norman Reedus, and Daryl's clearly not happy about sitting in the back of the car with him. And every time
I love that. I'll fucking love that.
When he was kept falling over and he just pushed him. He was
and Daryl just went. I love that. That was awesome.
He's a petulant bastard child, is what he was.
Yeah, exactly.
This is why going forward, I look forward to seeing more of those three. And we're going to get away missions, as Chris says. Obviously, they're going to go somewhere next week. Awesome. I'm all for it.
Yep, absolutely. They're 3 of the strongest characters in the show. Funnily enough, I was previously, up until the point, well, yeah, I guess up until this episode, really, I was kind of okay if they made the decision to get rid of Daryl. I mean, that might be something that they do down the line. I don't know. But we'd been so starved of seeing badass Daryl to the point where we almost forgot.
Yeah.
And then they do this, and now it's Daryl was absolutely superb this episode.
The moment where they got the van back off him, and Daryl went in the mirror. He said, pretty much spin on that, you prick.
Yeah.
Fucking love that. And then later on, when they were fighting, and he knocks him out, and he goes, "That's my gun." Yeah, that's cool.
That was so cool how he
love
fucking
that.
saved him. He's like, duck, and Daryl actually ducks. He shoots the zombie, and he's like saves him, and then he's just like, smash. That's my gun. Like that was fucking awesome.
Yeah, that
Daryl
was good.
The best.
Yeah,
but I'm with you, Hayes. Like, I drew the line under Daryl, as in like there was a long time. If Daryl died, I rioted. A long time. But then remember the episode? I can't remember if it was last series or the series before, and it was him and Carol centric. The one where
when they went to the hospital or the old like.
And then she got.
It was a women's shelter or something.
Oh yeah.
And you had that whole episode where Daryl started on one side, Carol started on the other side, and then by the end of the episode, they'd swapped sides.
Yeah.
And it seemed like this episode, they kind of done that again, but with him and Rick this time. Like, Rick's now gone into, like, I want to be part of this community, let's make this work. And you got a little hint at the end where Daryl was like, you were right, we shouldn't be letting people in. So they've swapped sides again, and I'm back on the side of Daryl, but have you seen the fan theory going around? I know it's a fan theory, and we don't want to get into that, but have you seen what they're saying is going to be like Daryl's big thing at the end of this season?
What's that?
No.
They basically are saying that because they've bait and switched Glenn so many times, and it really doesn't mean fuck all when he does die anymore, they're saying that Daryl's going to get the Negan death in the season finale.
Right.
But that's only a fan theory.
That's a fucking fan theory, a lot of shit. We had Jar Jar in fucking episode 8, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, the thing is with Negan, I almost
7.
see. I partly think we shouldn't see Negan at all this season. But they've mentioned him, so they've got no choice now. They've got to bring him at some point. And it probably
we said last week is that we don't need him right away, and that we'd be happy with him even just seeing a glimpse of him in the season finale.
Yeah,
I'd be happy with that.
I don't necessarily think. I mean, because in the comic, the execution that you're referring to doesn't happen straight away. With it doesn't happen as soon as they meet. As soon as they meet Negan, so
is he all tortured and stuff? They
might play it a bit differently. I don't know, but there is a bit before before they kind of come to that.
Yeah, but I'm completely on the same page. Like, if they bring Negan in, which like you say, they have to bring him in now. They've talked about him.
Yeah.
He's been cast. He's coming into this series. I'm going to be completely happy if it's like, I don't know, somebody turns around at the end of the series and there's Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and then it ends. He doesn't say anything, just ends. Sort of Luke Skywalker him.
Yep.
Just have him not say anything.
Has that become a verb now, to Luke Skywalker someone?
Yeah, I'd be happy if he just kind of turns up on the horizon and you can see the Alexandria sign or something, and he's just he's there with his fucking bat swinging over his shoulder, just well, looky here or something. I don't know. Yeah. End credits.
So how did we feel about? I mean, obviously we had some really good stuff with Norman Reedus and Andrew Lincoln. The double walker takedown, I'm gonna call it fucking badass. Like when Jesus was kind of like, "Do you even have any ammo?"
Yeah, aye.
And they shot the walker. I was sat there like, yeah, I was happy with that.
I liked it, but at the same time, they both took their eyes off him, and I fully expected Jesus to take them down when the minute they both took their eyes off him, because they both kind of went at the same time like that. And then look back down at Jesus, and for someone, I mean, I knew what was coming with Jesus in terms of his quick reflexes and his nimble abilities and stuff. And I was fully expecting Jesus to take them both down. But I kind of think, going back to something you said a bit earlier on, I think Jesus was one step ahead of them the whole time. I suspect when Jesus was lying unconscious, he was never actually unconscious.
Yeah, the bit. Obviously they had him tied up.
Yeah.
And they took off on the van, and then the next thing he's on top of the van. It did remind me a little bit of The Hangover, where what's his name jumps out of the boot.
This was something I wanted to say. Like, how did we feel that it was almost a road comedy this episode?
I liked it because, like I said, the comic relief after last week's episode of multiple deaths and. Some things hitting the mark, some things not. They couldn't possibly follow it up with loads of action. If you don't do comedy, you have to have lots of wishy-washy shite, such as we got glimpses of that from Maggie and from a couple of the scenes with Carl and Spencer and Michonne. So let's not have a full episode of that. Let's have a decent chunk of bromance on the road and some comedy thrown in there. Brilliant. Yeah.
Let's not overlook the scene with Carl and Michonne, though.
Which scene would this be?
When they're just after they've killed fake Jamie zombie.
Yeah.
And Michonne is going to Carl, why didn't you kill her? You could have killed her.
Yeah.
And he said, well, no, that's not right. It should be somebody who loved her.
Yeah.
And he said to her, I would do that for you.
But this
and then fuck.
No.
Right.
No.
No. Yeah. We don't need to be told that they're family, man. And
fuck off! It was a touching moment, you miserable prick.
Yep. Yeah.
I found it quite touching, and to be quite honest, it was possibly one of my favorite scenes in the whole episode. I think Chandler Riggs, apart from the whole Daryl and Rick on the road meeting Jesus, Chandler Riggs was the star of the episode for me.
Mm.
Absolutely loved what he did. like I say, at first when he went out with Enid and he was all like, we've got to be out here because we're the kids and let's go and be little bitches. And Enid's kind of like, I just want to go home because Enid's like kind of, she wants her feet under the table now, which is a strange kind of U-turn for her. But I'll buy it. I'll buy it.
Yeah, that's what characters do. They U-turn back, they U-turn.
Especially
I mean,
in this show, they fucking U-turn like motherfuckers.
yeah.
But then he's like, at first, I was hating the story for Carl. I thought, this is not what I wanted to see. I wanted him to come out of his little, like, bloodshot eye coma and come out and just be an angry, angry, angry little bastard. But then by the end of the episode, I was totally like, I buy it. I buy everything because he played it so well and the arc was beautiful.
See, I wouldn't want him coming out being all angry and hating the world and stuff because I'd think, "I'll shut the fuck up."
He's still going to get there. He's still going to get there because now
I don't want him going about being all pissy and whiny and, you know, being a little pussy about everything.
Now that we got the scene at the end of the episode, that's not going to end well. It's not. But like,
Remind me.
Let's just deal with it because I called it. I've been saying it for months. I've been saying it for absolutely months since the whole thing began. Rishon.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you going on about?
I've been a big fan of this. I've wanted this to happen since day one. I love Michonne. You know, Rick is the star of the show. If he's going to go with anyone, it's got to be her. He's the yin to the yang. You know, it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect.
Yep, they got Jesse out of the way last episode. Time jump, boom, Rishon.
Fantastic, like because
very well done.
We had that phenomenal montage when he was remembering just the amount of time he spent with Jessie and how much he loved her.
Yeah.
As she was dying.
Just thinking, yeah. The one and only regret that he's going to have is that he didn't bang her. That's it.
It's one of those things, though. Like, he's not really been happy since Laurie died, has he?
No.
He's flirted with, like, no one, to be honest. And then this whole thing with Michonne kicks off, and it's taken a while, but then Jesse kind of turned his eye. He fell in love with her almost instantly. He was devastated by her death to the point where, what we're going to say, 2 months later, time jump 2 months, he's banging Michonne.
2 weeks.
I don't think this is the first time he's banged her. By the very start of the episode, this is already going on.
Yeah. See, that's what I thought in the opening. It's like, what?
Yeah, because I saw a few people on Facebook, like, as I was watching it, there's a few people on Facebook saying, "Oh my God, OMG, you know, massive, massive twist. Did not expect to see that. Holy fuck, Walking Dead just blew my mind." It didn't really. It was coming a mile off. To be fair,
they've built up. You know, you're talking about two characters that have built up a chemistry over several seasons. You know, and it's far more believable than than Rick falling in love with some bird that he meets from Alexandria, a town that he, you know, when he first turned up, all he wanted to do was take it over and.
It's the age-old story. You meet a girl,
you
fall in love, you beat her husband to death almost, and then shoot him in the head.
Indeed.
Was it one of those like he only loved her because he thought he could save her kind of thing? Do you think? Because she was getting beaten at the time.
Nah, I think he liked her because she was fit. So.
Okay, she was the only age-appropriate fit bird there.
Yeah.
That'll do it. Like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So basically, I was huge on Rishon. I can't believe it's happening now.
Rishon.
It's happening. Eh? It's like a thing. Like people.
Is that a thing? Is that really? Whatever.
I'm pretty sure Reddit probably blew up like an hour ago when people saw this. It probably just like fucking exploded because everybody knew it was going to happen. It's finally happened. But like I say, whenever somebody gets jiggy with Rick, or whenever Rick finds a little bit of happiness, or whenever anybody finds a little bit of happiness on The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Is it a Jack Bauer thing, you reckon?
I think it's a Jack Bauer thing. She's not long for the show.
I'm not Michonne.
Do we see Michonne, or do we see it becoming like it'll go on for a while and it's like, you know what, it's a little bit awkward. We best call it a day. and then that's it. They just carry on and go their separate ways.
See, I think it's okay for them to be together. We don't need to see them snogging and going to bed every episode, but it's okay for them to be together. They're two very strong characters, and the writers putting them together at this point, it is definitely a ballsy move, because now you've got another couple with potential, worrying about the other one going out on runs and stuff like we get with Glenn and Maggie.
Yeah.
Week in, week out.
The beautiful thing was that they fuck on the couch, and then they end up in the bed.
Yeah.
And the way that shot was framed was just fucking beautiful. The way they're both kind of lying, but you look to the left, and beside Rick is his gun, and you look to the right, and beside Michonne is her sword. And you
I love that. Yeah,
you see how quickly they jump to action when it's like, Rick, wake up. I mean, that was fucking awesome.
Yeah, and that that if by this point in the episode you haven't worked out that Jesus is a fucking badass, to actually go up to the leader, and he is not in a vulnerable state whatsoever, despite the fact that Rick and Michonne have both jumped up, and they're pointing guns at him. At no point in that scene is Jesus scared or in any danger. He's just
he doesn't exactly shit his pants. He's kind of he's like, okay, we need to talk.
Yeah, because he could have easily went in there. Oh, is Kev gone?
Apparently he's gone. Yeah. Okay. Will we accept him back? I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean that bit when they were lying in bed together, and then you just hear Rick, and he's standing. I mean, well, to be honest, that's like my worst fear ever. Waking up and somebody standing at the bottom of my bed.
Yeah.
But Jesus is so fucking cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he's back.
He's back.
Totally agree.
Yeah. And that's
what happened there, you massive spacker?
I totally just pressed some weird button.
Was it the X button?
It probably was. That's the beauty of making you both hosts. I can get back in.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I don't know what you said while I was away. I'm a little bit confused.
Just calling you a prick on that.
But I mean, he wasn't bothered, was he? Like you say, he was ready for action. He was just like, we need to talk. Obviously, we know I still completely 100% believe that character's whole direction in the whole episode was to get to where he ended up.
Agreed. Fully agree. He was so far ahead. He did what he had to do to get taken back to their camp.
Yes.
Yeah, totally agree.
Because obviously he wants to take them back to the camp. So clearly there's something happening there. There's something happening there, and I think that's what the next episode's going to be, because they're pretty much, they can't do this thing where they keep, like the last series, they showed you some of this and then they went back to Alexandria. We're not in a situation where they can do that. The next episode has to continue where this one ended. So we're not going to get a stupid cutaway episode at all here. So he's going to be taking them where he needs them.
God, I fucking hope not. I really, really hope not. Because if they pull another Morgan episode just straight after a cliffhanger again, they can't do that. They can't.
They can't, and they're not going to do it.
They've done it before. They've got previous. I'm worried.
They have got previous, and that's why we forgive them.
Yeah.
Do we, though? Do we?
No.
Do we?
So, obviously, Jesus is complete badass. Are we buying the fact that supposedly Daryl was watching him and he still got away?
Yeah.
Better than Daryl, maybe a little bit.
Well,
Daryl
took them both to town, didn't he?
Yeah.
When they were fighting, two of them were fighting him. He whooped them both. So
he very much did. He very much did.
The thing I'm most surprised about is that they left him. That they left him in a state where he could potentially get free again.
There was no tying him up or anything like that.
I think Daryl was monologuing.
Maybe he was monologuing.
I would like to think he was. I'd like to think he's just sat there going, "Yeah, you thought you had the drop on us. Well, I'm going to tell you what we're going to do, you know."
Yeah. Well, hang on 2 seconds. I'll just go and have a piss in the next room. Yeah. I'm going to close the door because I get nervous. You'll just stay there, yeah? All right. Yeah. Yeah. Now that open window, nah. Stay away from that. Stay away from that. Yeah.
So we're good with Rashon. We're happy with Rashon.
Yeah.
Let's let Rick have 5 minutes of happiness before it's snatched away from him somehow.
It's going to be snatched away. So one thing that was glaringly obviously, and we spoke about it before, was the fact that we had no Morgan, we had no Carol, we had no Glenn, we had no Ginge, we had tiny little bit of fist bump, we had no Aaron.
Yeah,
it was lacking, but we already have said that was a good way to go.
I think so. Yeah.
Do we think the next episode is going to concentrate a little bit more on them?
Hope not.
You know,
I don't think it can.
I've always said that The Walking Dead could learn a little bit from Game of Thrones, whereby in Game of Thrones you can go a couple of episodes without seeing someone, and then it'll go back and see what they're up to, kind of thing. I'm okay with them doing that on The Walking Dead.
You're okay with that?
No, I'm okay with that. As long as Carol doesn't die.
As long as they do it in a good way. I mean, the last half season when you had the episodes with Daryl and Abraham and Sasha out on their, little missions, and then you would get, you wouldn't know what happens next with them for a couple of episodes. I thought they handled that really poorly. With Game, I mean, I don't watch Game of Thrones, but from what I've heard, it's something that's written and produced very well.
Yeah.
They tie things together in a cohesive, tight manner. Whereas The Walking Dead, it's like a child walked into a room with a stack of tapes and just flung them into the air, and then the stuff will land on the floor in a certain order, and they think, "Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, that's fine."
Sort of like the Family Guy way of writing.
Yeah, yeah, like the manatees from South Park.
I would love it if that's like in years to come we find out that's how The Walking Dead is actually written.
Yeah,
because Kirkman's just fucking doing whatever the fuck he wants.
Yeah, yeah. They filmed the Morgan episode about three years ago, but it took until the last half season for someone finally to roll the dice on it. Yeah.
So it's a very different episode in terms of like themes and all that. What do we like? We normally get like just a pretty good Bear McCreary score going on, but this is I think it's the first time that I can remember, apart from the odd like AC/DC or Metallica song getting blown in there somewhere. This is like the first time I can remember that they played a lot of like quite like, I wouldn't say they were current songs, but songs that were actually out there. It wasn't just Bear McCreary's score. How do we feel about this? Because one of the things I like about The Walking Dead is that it feels like it's maybe in the present day, but it's not really dated or anything. Like they've never really nailed down a time of when this show is. So to throw in a dose of pop culture music that they kind of had 4 different songs, it didn't take me. It was something that pissed me off, if I'm honest.
Yeah. Well, you mean like Taylor Swift is still alive? No, she would be the first to go. Kind of thing.
No, I'm not, if they played a Taylor Swift song, I'm turning it off and I ain't watching it again, to be honest. Do you know what I mean, though? One of the beautiful things about The Walking Dead is that we're not 100% certain when it is. It just is, you know? Yeah,
you're taking with The Walking Dead, you're taken completely out of the reality that we're in, the reality that you imagine in that part of America today, and it's almost like an alternate. Well, it is an alternate, like an alternate version of reality, like an alternate universe. Yeah. And hearing something like More Than a Feeling, something that you might hear at a fucking, a 40-year-old's wedding. Probably not something that they really need in a show like this. So yeah, I do. I mean, I didn't really think that too much at the time, but it did jar me out of this scenario.
I didn't really think about it, to be honest.
I think the opening episode was supposed to pull you out a little bit, just leave you with the tip. But it's just the way they played like a pop culture song really, it bothered me. It did bother me, and I hope they don't do this again. I hope they just, because remember like Lost. Did you ever watch Lost, Hayes?
Not really.
There was a couple of series of Lost where they played like a pop culture song at the start of an episode, and it worked because Lost was a weird show like that. I don't think it works in The Walking Dead. It kind of fucked me off, to be honest.
Well, it depends. It all depends on tone. I mean, some of the music in The Walking Dead, I think's really, really well chosen. I mean, a couple of seasons ago, I can't remember what episode it was, but they played a wicked tune by Ben Howard, which was quite sort of dark in tone, but it fitted the, and he's a current artist, and it fit the tone really, 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 really well. Whereas, the Journey song kind of didn't really fit the tone. I think that's the problem. Is it's things. If you're going to be playing pop, like pop culture music, it needs to pretty precisely fit the fit the tone of the episode. I'm not sure that was the best choice for that scene, but
like I say, it was just something that played on me. Obviously, it didn't bother Chris.
It doesn't bother me.
It's a minor thing anyway, but yeah.
So I suppose that's like the episode, because we kind of we dealt with the end scene before, and the whole Rick and Michonne getting together. That was such a cool little scene, though. Like I was kind of, because I've always wanted this. Like Chris knows that I've always wanted this to happen. It's something that I've been pulling for a long time.
Sorry.
And I always want.
How many?
You're a fucking.
How many references? 2 seconds ago, you're talking about leaving the tip in, and now you're talking about pulling it off.
Right.
Yeah. And
I'm sorry, I turned into like a 15-year-old. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Wait till you start talking about Michonne grasping the shaft of her.
She does it very well.
She does.
But I always kind of wondered, when we do get this, how are we going to get it? Like, is it going to play well? Is it going to be something that's going to piss me off? Because it seems like everything else in The Walking Dead, it just seems like they're forcing it upon you. I think the way they did it was just fantastic. The fact that we already knew she was in the house. Carl kind of tells her that he loves her and she's part of the family. And then he comes home. They both kind of flake on the couch together. And it's like, oh, what a fucking day I've had. She's like, oh, tell me about it, All you need is him to take his shoes off and she starts massaging his feet. That's all you need.
Exactly, yeah. Bit of knobbing, aye? There you go.
Not feet, never feet. Ugh.
It's a scene that it could have been outrageously awkward, to be completely honest. It could have felt awkward, as if a brother and sister were getting it on screen. But it didn't. It felt natural. It felt great. And I was, oh man.
Organic.
Organic, yes. Organic lovemaking, rompy pumpy softcore porn.
Yeah.
And
as much as you're going to get from an AMC show, sadly.
I was just happy. If that was a Showtime show, we ought to see Michonne's boobage.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah. To be fair, when the camera pans up and you see them both lying there, I'm thinking, is that a bit of tip? No.
No, it's AMC. Yeah. And then at the end, when they both jump up to action, when Jesus is like, "Wake up," and like they both jump up to action, I was literally sat there thinking, and Jesus does. Maybe I'm just like overthinking it, but I'm almost certain Jesus does shoot her a little glance, as if to say, "I like the way you're putting it."
Yeah.
But yeah, I suppose that's the episode. Do we have anything, like, obviously I think next week we kind of know what it's going to be.
I'm looking forward to next week's.
I'm looking forward to it as well. I mean, I think we're probably all in the unusual place where we're feeling quite positive about The Walking Dead and the direction it's going. It's a strange place to be in.
which is the complete opposite of why we decided to do this show. So
Yeah, exactly. If it keeps on being really good, we're going to have to cancel this.
Yeah, it's a bit of a worry that the three of us are all wanting a sucky episode.
yeah, we do. We want to have a rant because, I mean, it can't always be good, can it? Can it?
They change writers too frequently for it to you will get your wish at some point soon, and because believe me, as soon as we've all got our guards down, just like in the show, when they all start thinking everything's all right, that's when the zombies come. That's when some more enemies come. It's going to happen with us. We're going to be thinking, finally, they've done it. They've brought us this post-apocalyptic drama that we've been waiting for all of our lives, and then the rug will snap from underneath us. Something wank will happen, and we'll be on here ranting like cats and dogs.
Do we think that could be next week? I fucking hope it's next week.
Nah, no, not next week's. Not next week.
I'm kind of I'm enjoying it for now. I know that I know there'll be a crash at some point, but
it is nice to be enjoying The Walking Dead. It's nice to be having 2 solid as fuck episodes, and we now have a new character who I can't see me not liking him anytime in the near future.
Yeah, you know what? I when he first came on the screen, I thought, "You're awesome. Don't kill him. Don't fucking kill him."
It's you are awesome. If Daryl has to go, you're quite a good fucking replacement for Daryl. Let's just do away with Glenn, please. Still, but again, that was one of the good things about this episode. We didn't get any Glenn. There was no bait and switching.
I didn't miss Glenn at all.
Yeah, it took him in the fucking church with Father and leave them.
I miss Carol, obviously, but not Glenn.
It was a bit shit not seeing Carol because,
why would Carol not be out on the?
But she needs a bit of time to get over the whole issues with Morgan. You know,
fuck Morgan. Carol could have been out in the car with him, singing tunes and stuff.
Do you think like Carol and Morgan were just like round the back, just knocking lumps out of each other, and they just don't want us to show that?
Maybe they were knobbing.
They're not knobbing.
No, they're not. No.
They're not knobbing.
No,
I
they're not.
still think Daryl and Carol. That's going to be a thing.
You think?
I always thought that was more of a kind of motherly, sort of.
Nah, it's not going to happen.
Kind of affection with them too. I never thought that was a romantic thing.
I want that.
Could be wrong.
I want it to be a romantic thing. So next week they're clearly going to go to Jesus's place, Jesus' crib, see what's up there. Chris, any insight? His insight?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. There's some interesting characters to be introduced. I've got no doubt about that. I'm just looking forward to seeing more Jesus on screen. Really excited to see that. And another very strong character coming in. I do worry for Daryl, but they've given him this. They've given him this episode. Do you know what? This fan theory, you've really got to sink in, because I didn't have that in my head at all. But this fan theory about Daryl, that could be some kind of weird prophecy. I don't know.
It's kind of the only way. I think what they were saying is what the fans are all shouting at is that the Glenn's death, the way Negan does it, isn't going to mean a damn thing anymore. It just nobody gives 2 shits about.
Oh, they can't do that. They definitely can't do that. It's just about whether they do that, but with a different character.
But
they definitely can't do it with Glenn now.
That's pretty much what they were saying. They were saying that it's such an iconic death that it has to happen.
Yeah, at this point with Glenn, I'd be perfectly happy with a scene with a car driving away. Glenn just awkwardly falls out of the car, hits his head on a rock, and then they just kind of think, and then keep driving.
Maggie just sits there and goes, "Well, I was bothered about Beth, so fuck him."
But then the ginger guy will just shoot the rock.
The ginger guy.
Yeah, they come out with some snappy line.
Yeah,
I don't like how you both kind of have beef with Abraham. I like Abraham.
it was just the way he came in and saved the day, and as we said last week, he should have a cigar in his mouth as he was speaking to.
Yeah, he's just a. Yeah.
But I rewatched the episode with my dad. My dad loves The Walking Dead, And I rewatched the episode with my dad at the weekend, and he lapped that shit up.
Did he love it? Did he love it?
When when Glenn was about to die and stuff, and Abraham and was it Sasha?
Yeah.
Were at the top and they started shooting and stuff at the walkers. Yeah, and he came up with his witty line about, "Would you open the door?" or some shit, and my dad went, "Nah, I can."
One thing that did annoy me, and there was plenty of places where they could have put it. Abraham didn't get to like say "mother dick" at all, and that's like his thing. Like he needs to be saying "mother dick" all the time. And
Like, open the doors, mother dick.
Glenn, mother
That
dick.
could have worked.
You're meant to be fucking dead, or like, no.
Yeah.
I'm positive towards this episode. I'm glad it wasn't a shit show. Although it would have been nice to have come on and had a little bit of rant about it. I got to see Chris Hardwick during the break, so I got to say my token, oh, go fuck yourself. Like, because he was like, please watch the show, please watch the show, please watch the show. So I got to see him and I got to have a little shout at the screen because he's just a knobhead. No doubt he's sitting there sucking this episode off. I was chuffed to bits that Chandler Riggs, again, we'll go around the table. I'm giving Chandler Riggs the part of the episode. Rick was amazing. Daryl was amazing. Jesus was amazing. But I'm giving it to Chandler Riggs. I just loved everything he did in this episode. You guys, how do you feel about who?
Yeah, I'm giving it to Daryl. Just probably for the one-liners. This is my gun, and stuff.
I did love the bit at the end when they were in the back of the car and he just wasn't happy that he kept falling over.
Yeah. I just thought Daryl Norman just nailed that episode. I thought he was fucking awesome. But as you say, Kev, Chandler Riggs was brilliant as well. I can't believe, Hayes, that you didn't like the bit where he said that to Michelle.
Yeah. I just find some of that stuff a little bit too, a little bit too on the nose, to be honest.
Oh, I actually did sit there and go, oh.
Yeah, maybe I'm just a miserable old bastard, but for me, I'm torn between Daryl and Jesus as characters of the episode. Really, Jesus purely because of his introduction and the fact that I know what's to come from him. So I don't know. Daryl, I'm going to go with Daryl.
It was a pretty perfect introduction. I mean, they've fucked up introductions to major characters before. They've done it before, and they've not done it well. And the whole fact that, like, I wasn't expecting this guy to come in because I didn't know he was a character who was coming into the show. I didn't know they'd cast anybody new. Like, I know Xander Berkeley's coming into it soon. I know Alicia Witt's coming into it soon. But I didn't know they'd cast this Jesus character. So when I stood there and he just runs into the back of Rick, I shit myself. I actually literally shit myself. I was like,
you literally shit yourself?
Well, yeah, I had to change my pants before we came on and done this.
Wow.
Which was a bit, I had to wake the wife up and get the clean pants out and stuff. But I wasn't expecting that, and they did it fantastic. And it's the first time in a long time that they've introduced somebody as well as they did in this episode. And it's also the first time in a long time that I kind of sat there and thought, I'm really okay with Daryl dying now.
Why do we need Daryl to die just because this guy comes in?
We don't need him to die, but we now have the perfect replacement if he did, whereas before we didn't. Like, I always kind of thought Morgan was going to be that perfect replacement.
Yeah, one thing I've always wondered about Jesus coming in was, can the show really have two massive badasses? I mean, they dealt with Morgan being a massive badass by reducing him to being a simpering, I don't want to kill nobody, just flange of a man, who we just can't be arsed with anymore.
No, we can't. Are we okay with Morgan dying?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm next episode.
Yeah. I'm just gonna outright say yeah. I'm perfectly all right with that now. I wasn't.
I still think it has to be Carol that does it.
They've destroyed everything that was good about Morgan's character. So through the way that they've engineered this, get rid of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, quick rundown on the characters, and then we'll wrap it up there. Enid. We've got a little bit of Enid this episode. She had a little bit of an arc. Not a great one. How we feel with Enid?
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Carl?
I can get on board Chris's kind of meh, with Enid. Just wasn't really bothered. Don't really give a shit about flip flopping. To be honest, I've seen too much of it.
Flip flop.
She did, she did it the episode with Glenn. She's done it again this episode. Yeah, didn't really care. So my reaction to Enid was kind of like Chandler Riggs's reaction, as in balls to it, go back home then.
We have had a slight progression though, whereas like she ran away from the community, Glenn went and found her, Glenn brought her back. She was kind of reluctant until she went in the church and then realized that, you know what, this could be a good place to be.
Yep.
And now she's like firmly, I mean, we've time jumped, we're going to say 2 months, like a month and a half to 2 months. So we've time jumped. So she's had her feet under the table a little while. She's eating the salad greens. And obviously Eugene's crops are working for everyone. I'm still on fuck Eugene. I know you only had one scene, but I'm on fuck Eugene. I need rid of this man.
No.
One thing with Eugene is his role ends up being a bit different in the comics to what it is currently. They've done it before where they've remixed characters, they've killed them off early, they've not killed them off, they've done different things with them. So there's no guarantee that that he's going to go in the same direction. But if Eugene's going to become the kind of character that he is in the comics, they've got a ways to go with him.
As in, just shave his head and just kill him.
Is the mullet annoying you? Is that what it is?
It's the mullet. It's always the mullet.
Is it because you can't grow one? Have you tried?
I tried to grow a mullet and it didn't work. I'll give you that. But I made my bed with it. I made my peace with it. So Spencer,
Doesn't sound like it. Sounds like beef. Mullet beef.
You guys are still not keen on Spencer.
Not kill him.
Spencer can fuck off. I've got no interest in anything that he does or says.
Even after this episode?
No, absolutely none. To be fair, less. His presence irritated me. Did nothing but irritate me. I don't give a fuck about his little pathetic closure because he killed Janeway. Who cares, man? She's already dead.
I liked it. I don't know what it was about him. There was something about this episode that made me think, you know what? Maybe they're going to start using Austin Nichols the right way. Maybe the whole Spencer character is going to start getting better. And I quite like the closure thing. I loved how he had the shovel on his back. Kind of led to you believing that you knew straight away what was going on.
Yeah, I just don't like. When Michonne's saying to him, "Oh, what have you got the shovel for?" I'm just have to go and find my mother. Yeah. Smack her. I'm sick of people fannying on. Oh no, you wouldn't know. I can't tell you. For the sake of stretching something out over several scenes.
Yeah, just you know what? If it was real life, you'd say, "Fucking cut it out."
Yeah, exactly. Cut it out. You're putting both of our lives at risk being out here, for fuck's sake. So, and Michonne being like, "All right, well, I'm just perfectly fine following you for another few miles, away from home, and potentially being jumped on by walkers at any moment. That's totally fine. So we can just progress your little fucking arc. Fuck off. No interest. No interest. Kill him."
They need to progress his arc. They need him to become good.
Yeah, progress his arc by killing him.
Not with him, they don't.
No, they need him to become Spencer. I feel Spencer's got a ways to go. I feel that his character is gonna become something for me. Like hopefully he does, because we don't have very many Alexandrians left, and like you say, Chris, we didn't fucking see any of them in this episode.
No.
We didn't see the rando husband and wife with the meat cleavers. We didn't see the random churchgoers that Gabriel had in his little shack.
No.
We didn't see any of them. So we need Spencer to do something. Otherwise, what's the fucking point in Alexandria?
Yeah. Well, they must all be in the church praising God for the fact that he helped them help themselves.
But we're still we're happy with Roshon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
My only thing we were shown, I love the fact I've been calling it for months, and I love the fact that they're finally kind of.
Have you been calling it?
I've been calling it.
Have you been?
You see, when you messaged us before and you said I called it, I thought I was still watching it then, and I thought, oh my god, June's dead.
Yeah, I totally I've wanted that to happen, and I'm buzzing with it.
That's not calling it, really.
Of course, it fucking is. If you go back to
don't try to take it away from him.
if you go, fuck you, all right.
That's not
if
calling
you go
it.
back
It's not calling
to episode fucking 3 when we done a Walking Dead special way back in the day, you will see that I probably didn't, so please don't go back and check it. But I'm sure somewhere in there I said Rick and Michonne was going to bang, and they banged, and I'm buzzing. I just think it spells doom for one of them.
Yeah.
And it won't be right.
It's Michonne. It'll be Michonne. But we've got Imran there. Will we see if he wants to join in?
No, Imran's there. I don't know. Did he watch the show, Imran? But
No.
I mean,
Oh, is he driving again?
not if you're driving. Do not come in if you're driving, please. Did anybody notice the sign on the front of Alexandria when Rick and Daryl came back?
What?
Oh, the one that said he's driving
Here
again.
he is.
Yeah, fucking, don't do this when you're driving.
This is going to be a weekly tradition for me, fellas.
Do not do this when you're driving, Imran.
Wait,
Don't.
No.
The more I do it, the better I will get at it. How am I supposed to get good at blabbing and driving if I don't practice?
That's not the point. You're not meant to do it.
But I love The Walking Dead, and I have opinions and comments.
Right.
On you go then. So what do you make of Rishon?
Rishon was good. It was organic. It made a lot of sense.
Organic.
They're living like a family already.
Yeah.
I thought they were already banging in the beginning when she shows up with she's taking a shower and she's like, "Where's the toothpaste?" I'm like, "What's going on here?"
Yeah.
But it was really, really well acted by both of them. Like, you totally bought it, and you're like, "Yay!" And I didn't know it was a big thing, actually, that it was like Rishon shippers or whatever they call themselves.
Yeah, they call themselves shippers, but I don't really know what a shipper is, so I didn't
I
call
think
myself one of them.
it's short for war shippers or some stupid shit.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. Hey, what did you guys think of Rick's music choices? I missed that part. I don't know if you talked about it.
Yeah, I dealt with that a little bit before. Like, I really, I wasn't. It took me out. It took me out for a little bit, to be completely honest. Like the whole pop culture, a little bit journey on the go. Like,
Yeah, more than a feeling.
it really, really took me out of the show. But I do think, and I said earlier that I do think it was meant to at the start of the episode. It was meant to pull you out a little bit. And please don't go all immature there, boys. Again,
It's true though. You never have heard popular music on the show ever.
Yes.
You know, and all of a sudden you hear music. However, I loved how Rick loves dirty rockabilly music. I used to be in a rockabilly band and we were like a rockabilly western swing band. I play guitar, so I love that old school rockabilly
Swing bang.
music.
There's the one for you, Kev.
eh?
Swing bang.
What's that?
I liked how Daryl clearly does not like the song choice, and he kind of passes it off as it drives the walkers away from home.
Like, we want to draw them away, so. But I love the dirty rockabilly, but it was weird.
So Imran, the introduction of Jesus.
Here's my guess up upon Jesus. I love that he's a slippery little fella that he can fight. I think he has mutant powers. I think he has mutant powers similar to the X-Men Nightcrawler, because how the fuck did he get on the roof of the truck?
There was time because Rick was being all cocky cock and swinging the Jesus finger. So he had time.
That's when he got out of all the ropes and climbed up quietly in that split second. Where
Well,
Rick,
yeah.
I do love Daryl where he's like, "See you later, you prick," and he flicks him off as they're driving away. But how did he get on the roof? And then there was a little comedic scene, them chasing them. Like, somebody already has cut together that scene with Benny Hill music, and it works perfectly.
It reminded me a lot of a scene like that. Just running back and forward on in the field. You know, it reminded me a lot of that.
That was a fun little scene, yeah.
It was, yeah, it was.
It was
I've
like you guys
mentioned that
ever played
before.
tag when you were kids, like freeze tag or tag. That's what it reminded me of. They were playing tag.
It kind of was a little bit, to be honest. But the whole episode, the whole bromance, the whole road trip, it was all slightly comedy-wise. Like they wanted to bring the levity, didn't they?
Yeah, and they did a job. It was a nice, and I like how there was action, but it was kind of a slower paced episode, but it still had action.
Yeah.
Kept you involved. And then the payoff at the end when they're all domestic and they're hanging out, and he just gives it like it's so satisfying because they just she's like, oh, you had a day, or like when he tells her all this shit. And it just made so much sense at the end. And then fucking Jesus popping up and they're naked, and he's like, Rick, we gotta talk. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, I agree. It was actually surprisingly well structured when you look back on it. Yeah.
Oh, so you've changed your mind now, Hayes? Have you been tearing it apart?
That's what we need. We need Imran to just like level up the thought process.
Is this your contribution to the show? Is that you're just going to sit there and be like, fuck this, fuck that, and then at the end go, actually, it was all right.
He's what I do on my show now, and I'm like Anthony and Red Boy. This is bizarro podcast land right here. This is the Doppelcast. This truly is the Doppelcast.
Yeah. I ain't changing my opinions on Spencer.
Oh, come on. Spencer's... I think we got ways to go with Spencer. I think he's going to come good.
Oh, Spencer, I think he's going to be a really
come
valuable
good.
group now. I think he's
Yeah.
old. I mean, he reminded me of Ash from Evil Dead. Did anybody get that vibe? With the blue shirt and the shovel?
Yeah, the way he had the shovel on the back. Yeah, you're quite right there when you say that. I never thought about it at the time, but...
I just popped in my head. I was like, wait, that's Ash from Evil Dead. All right, guys, I'm going to pop out because, this is dangerous.
Yeah,
it's dangerous, yes.
I'm on my way to, we're going to our Deadpool review show tonight, so that'll be out later this week.
Cool.
The Jock and Nerd Podcast. Hey, will you be a nice lad and X me out of the box so I don't have to look off the road?
Oh, fuck that shit.
Catch you later, man.
All right.
Bye,
man.
You can leave it on as long as you want. I don't really care. I can just...
Bye.
I'll be back in 2 seconds now. Just give me a second.
No worries. I suppose we'll wait till you come back to wrap it up.
I didn't flip-flop too much there, Kev, did I?
You did.
Was that about the structure of it?
You sat there and you ripped the fucking episode apart. All the good bits, you sat there and you had pissy moments.
Pissy moments. No, to be fair, I had pissy moments with Spencer and with with some Enid stuff and with the Carl scene that you guys were wanking over. But
that whole thing with Carl.
But the thing that I think was good was the comedic structure of the episode and how it changed the pace from last week, which I think I said earlier. I don't know.
No, I think Imran just pointed it out and you jumped on it and you're like, no, actually, you're right. It was a good episode.
Yeah. I think we had agreed it was I think we had agreed it was a decent episode. Last week was a decent episode too, although we did tear apart some parts of it. It is definitely exceeding expectations at the minute. This isn't it.
So personally, from your point of view, do we think the next episode? Do you think we're going to come back happy again, or do you think we're going to be tearing this one apart?
I don't know because The Walking Dead is a show that I get very worried about getting into to the point where I'm like, fuck, I'm excited for next week. Let's see where this goes. And I am starting to feel that again from this show, as opposed to dreading what's coming next week, and just kind of drearily, obediently watching it. So doing a podcast like this kind of makes it fun, when those things happen. But I don't know. I'm waiting for The Walking Dead to I don't know,
start sucking
again. But yeah, I am I don't know. I'm really hesitant to say it, but yeah, I am. With the introduction of Jesus, the last moment of the episode, like, fuck, Rick,
Yeah.
we need to talk. And knowing some of the stuff that's coming up in the comics, there are some really interesting story arcs coming up in the comics that we may potentially be getting to soon. And yeah, I guess secretly, I am kind of excited.
You sound scared by this.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying,
I've been hurt too many times.
like last week we did the show, and then everybody started like posting up on the Facebook and all that. Oh, best fucking episode of Walking Dead ever. It was everywhere. Everybody was going best episode ever, best Walking Dead, best opener.
It wasn't the best episode ever.
It certainly wasn't. And
Rambo Carol.
I kept having to say to people, you know what, you kind of need to calm down because we've been here before.
Yeah,
I know exactly where you are, Hayes. Like we've all been here before.
Absolutely.
It is inevitably gonna fuck up. Simple as.
Not necessarily, though. Not necessarily. Well, but not necessarily. They could have a plan. It'll suck. But they could have a plan.
They could have a cohesive structure for a season for once, maybe.
Do you think?
But it could be. But it won't.
It might be. That was very Deadpool-y of you.
Wasn't it? Kidnapper. Have you seen that yet, Hayes?
No. I need to see it.
You do need to see it.
Yeah.
You very much need to see it. Yeah.
I need to see it so I can chat to you guys about it.
We will be releasing episode 30 some point this week. Fuck knows when. And we did our Deadpool review. But I'll tell you what, it's a fucking hard movie to review, to be fair.
Yeah, we kind of found that. We started speaking about it in the review, and we kind of went, it was good. And it was funny. And then that was pretty much it. So it was a good review. It was solid.
But I'll wrap this up now, and we'll just have general little bit of crack. This has been the 365 Flicks Talking Heads spin-off to the show, the officially unofficial companion to The Walking Dead. This was series 6, episode 10. I can't remember what it was called. And it's pretty conclusive that we all enjoyed it in our own little ways.
Yep.
Chris did enjoy it, but he doesn't want to admit it. Hayes even. He did admit it.
You need to stop that shit.
No, I've admitted it. I've admitted that I enjoyed it. I said it.
No, not you, him. He needs to get a fucking grip of himself with the names.
Right.
Well, I wasn't expecting to have 2 Chris's on the show, you big pleb.
Shut up.
So if you want to find us, we're on iTunes, we're on Stitcher, we're on the Libsyn, we're on any third-party app, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter. Just look for 365 Flicks. You will find us because we are there and we are awesome. This will probably be, I think we're releasing like 2 episodes this week, quite possibly.
Yeah.
Did you record the monologues one, did you?
Yeah, we did the monologues one, which is
excellent. Looking forward to that.
It has been a bit of a bastard to edit, but it's sounding good the now.
Has it?
A little bit.
I don't think it was going to be that bad to edit. We weren't that sort of slavery or anything, were we?
It's quite good though, because we kind of we recorded it last night and we're going to be releasing it on Friday. So we kind of talk about the WWE Fastlane, our predictions. So that happened there? Night. That happened last night. So we really went timey-wimey this time. And it's going to sound a bit fucking strange, I think, to be honest.
Well, I'm excited.
Just listen to the monologues and listen to the Deadpool review. Well, don't listen to the Deadpool review because you've not seen it. But the news is a little bit fucking ropey, if I'm honest.
Is it?
So, would everybody like to say goodbye?
Okay.
No?
Goodbye.
Nobody wants
Goodbye.
To say goodbye? Nobody. I'll play that. And that's it.
Yeah.
Boom.
So, coming back next week, are we?
Yeah.
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 He says.
Absolutely.